In the mid-'70s, I spent a couple of years going to the Ron Bailey School of Broadcast, which was a terrific experience. I met all these super interesting people, and I got a job in northern Montana at a radio station doing news and sports and making commercials. And the DJs were virtual. They came out of LA on huge reels of tape, and I would coordinate the machine, and they had this giant computer that played them, 1978 tech era computer. And so I did all that, and I worked all night, worked all day. I got very lonely in northern Montana. There really weren't very many people there who that I was able to make friends with. And so after 3 or 4 months, I was totally fed up. I couldn't stand it. I was working every shift around the clock. The new guy always gets to do that. Radio stations are very demanding, really. It's almost like going to work for a law firm and hoping to become partner. You are asked to really give your all. And I couldn't take it. So I went to Memphis. I just got in my car and drove to Memphis, Tennessee, where my old pickin' partner lived. Matt and I were best friends and buddies a couple of years earlier in Seattle. And then he moved down to Memphis with his girlfriend, and I missed him, and I missed having good companionship, and so I just quit my job and drove to Memphis. And I had visited Memphis before to visit Matt after he moved. And one of those visits was a bus ride that I took from Seattle, 3 days on a Trailways bus. And I made about a dozen friends, and I ended up playing my music for them in the bus. And the enthusiastic response I got and the encouragement I got has shaped my life to this day. I still have those people as my sort of mascots. So about 2 years ago, I wrote a song about those experiences, and you've probably all heard it. It's called 7 Miles to Memphis, and here it is. She got on at the Portland station on the first day out of 3. I liked the way she looked, and I was glad when she sat by me. She said, "Honey, what's your destination?" I said, "Memphis, Tennessee. I got a pickin' partner there, and it's a place I've always wanted to be." By the time we got to Bend, I knew her whole life story. She knew my dreams and my plans. By morning she was sleeping with her head on my shoulder. I was a happy man. Have a good life. It's been good to know you. It's 7 miles to Memphis. Did you read the sign? Have a good life. It's been good to know you, and maybe sometime if the wind is right, we'll blow in the same direction for another night. It's a crazy world, and crazy things happen all the time. Next day we made friends with the neighbors, and I got down my guitar. A couple of the many things you can't do in your car. The kid from Colorado had a 12-string Gibson, and he played on a couple of songs. And then he gathered up his stuff and motioned us to come along. 'Cause everybody knows that all the cool kids gravitate to the back of the bus. We made up endless verses to the Trailways blues until the driver yelled at us. I was traveling with a sheet of paper that was laced with LSD. I cut apart a dozen hits and passed them out for free. A couple hours later we were all best buddies, and I started playing my own songs. I'd only written half a dozen, so I had to play them twice, and everybody sang along. Have a good life. It's been good to know you. It's 7 miles to Memphis. Did you read the sign? Have a good life. It's been good to know you. And maybe sometime, if the wind is right, we'll blow in the same direction for another night. It's a crazy world, and crazy things happen all the time. We stopped to get some breakfast and the scenery kept moving. When does this cafe slow down? We laughed until it hurt, 'cause they call it trailways. What a trip we took to Memphis town. We had a goodbye hug, my friend from Portland, and we promised that we'd stay in touch. We meant it when we said it, but we knew it doesn't happen too much. I turned back and hollered from the top of the stairs, I'm gonna make it, you wait and see. There was a chorus of agreement and they all waved back at me. Well, I never stopped writing, I never stopped singing. Did I make it in the music biz? Well, if you do what you love, love will follow. And if that's not success, what is? Have a good life. It's been good to know you. It's 7 miles to Memphis. Did you read the sign? Have a good life. It's been good to know you. And maybe sometime, if the wind is right, we'll blow in the same direction for another night. It's a crazy world, and crazy things happen all the time. It's a crazy world, and crazy things happen all the time. Yay. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Question.
What's that?
Have you kept in touch with any of them?
No, that's the last I ever saw of any of them.
Okay.
They were all 3-day friendships, unless they got in Grand Junction, in which case they were a 1.5-day friendship. You know?
That's the way it often is.
You know, it often is. It's kind of like a cruise ship friendship, you know? It can be very deep, and partly because of the isolation of it, you're completely away from your ordinary life, and there's a time limit, and you kind of maybe know that you probably won't keep in touch, and sometimes you can throw yourself into those things. There were confessional conversations, there was conversational intimacy, and it left a great memory, I hope, for everybody that was involved. It certainly did for me. Yeah. So I ended up in Memphis for real. And I moved in with my friend Matt, and we were absolutely broke. I've never been as broke as I was in the late 70s. That was the brokest ever. And at this time, I mean, Matt had found a big bag of oranges, real cheap, like 20 pounds of oranges, and that was all we had in the house. So we lived on oranges for a week. And that was the kind of thing it was. I worked for a pizza place and got some, no, that's not true. I worked for a French pastry shop. The pizza place was Mystic, Connecticut. Never mind, get my stories confused. I worked at Mystic Pizza, actually. Julia Roberts was not working there at the time. But at any rate, in Memphis, I worked at a French pastry shop and was quite often holding down the fort by myself, and the theater would let out next door, and I'd have 20 tables that I was taking care of completely by myself. It was a stressful job, but it was neat. The people were cool. And I got to bring home a free baguette every night. So Matt and I ate baguettes every night. Anyway, that's how that went. I learned a couple of Elvis songs. Elvis, 4 years after he died and Graceland was at its peak, and Elvis just permeated the whole atmosphere of Memphis at that time. He probably still does. He was he was a vital force there. And so I learned a couple Elvis songs while I lived in Memphis. And one of them really opened my eyes in a funny way, and I'll play that one for you. Number one, I realized I don't need to play songs the same way as the original. And I kind of learned this one without really listening to Elvis's recording very much, and it turned out very, very different. And I liked it. It made me happy. Let's see how I can do here. Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. Down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel. You get so lonely, you get so lonely, baby. You get so lonely you could die. Although it's always crowded, you still can find some room for lonely-hearted lovers to cry away their gloom. They get so lonely, they get so lonely, baby. They get so lonely they could die. The bellhop's tears are flowing, the desk clerk's dressed in black. They've been so long on Lonely Street, they're never coming back. They get so lonely, they get so lonely, baby. They get so lonely, they could die. They get so lonely, they get so lonely, baby. They get so lonely, they could die. So if your baby leaves you, you got a tale to tell. Take a walk down Lonely Street to Heartbreak Hotel. You get so lonely, you get so lonely, baby. You get so lonely, you could die, they could die, everybody could die. They get so lonely, you get so lonely, baby. You get so lonely, you could die. Yeah. The town's infused with the blues. You can't escape it. And at least in the late 70s it was. And so I made a recording of that song. Our friend Doc had an old TIAC reel-to-reel tape recorder, and I made a recording of that song. And my other friend Russell, who played drums with me sometimes, that was really fun. Russell listened to that recording and he said, you know, I always thought you sang a little flat. But listening to that recording, I realized that you had a whole orchestra in your head. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't know. It took me several years to figure out what the heck he was talking about. I listened to the Rolling Stones, and of course Mick Jagger sings that note, whatever it was I was singing that Russell heard that he thought was a little flat until he heard it in context. That was Blue Notes is what he was hearing. And I listened to Mick sing, you know, ooh, the storm is threatening. That ooh, that note is not on a piano, and it's not on an acoustic guitar either. It's a little bit flat of the minor third, and it's an absolutely essential part of American music now. Jazz, blues, everything, country, pop, the Beatles as it went across the ocean. Every musical culture now that's based on American music is incorporated those kinds of notes. And so as I studied that further, that is what eventually led me to my study of harmony that ended up leading me to the blog that I've got and all the videos online and the book that I've written about that stuff. So that was a real breakthrough. Thank you, Russell. I love it when a friend makes a comment that takes me years to figure out. Here, I'll play my other Elvis song. depths of my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting just as wild as a bug. I'm in love, I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My hands are shaky and my knees are weak. I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think of when you have such luck? I'm in love, I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please don't ask me what's on my mind. I'm a little mixed up, but I feel fine when I'm with a girl that I love best. My heart beats so it scares me to death, but she touched my hand. What a thrill I got. Her lips are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love, I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My tongue gets tied when I try to speak. My inside shaking like a leaf on a tree. There's only one cure for this body of mine, and that's to have that girl that I love so fine. Well, she touched my hand, what a thrill I got. Her lips are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love, I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm all shook up. That's fun. That's a good karaoke song. I think I've actually sung that at karaoke before, a couple of times. Well, I did write some songs while I was in Memphis. There was one particular friend named Michael. I didn't know him well. He was just a friend of a friend. There was a whole circle. Of course, I met all of Matt's friends, and that's really who my friends became, was Matt's circle. And Michael had a girlfriend. I think her name was Pam, maybe, something like that. A one-syllable name, I remember that vaguely. But I remember Michael. And she broke up with him. She cheated on him, and he was in terrible distress. He came over to our house, and he was all messed up and feeling bad. And a song started going through my head about Michael and about Pam. But the way it worked, it ended up being called Dear Michael. And the thing about Dear Michael is that it wasn't him that broke up with her. I mean, it wasn't him that cheated on her. But Dear Pam just didn't work. It didn't scan well. It didn't work. So I ended up role reversing them. So my apologies to Michael, and just in case you're listening, you'll understand that I did know who it was that cheated. Okay, Dear Michael. It's my only cheating song, and it's my only serious cheating song. I've got a couple funny ones. Here we go. I stole these chords for Be Love, but the rest of the song is different. I'm not going to sue myself. You've got that secret smile I know so well, and it's a fine, fine sight to see. It would warm this heart of mine even more. If I thought it had a thing to do with me, where'd you get that smile, dear Michael? You didn't used to look that way. I guess your work must be more fun than it was. You come home later every day. Where'd you get that bruise, dear Michael? How'd you bump your leg that way? I found a blonde hair in your collar last night. Must have been a windy day. And if I ask too many silly questions about the things you say and do, it's very simple, my dear Michael. I'm scared to death I'm losing you. Where'd you get that smile, dear Michael? Where'd you get it from today? I guess your work must be more fun than it was. Longer hours, better pay. Longer hours, better pay.
Sad song.
I know. It's a really sad song.
Aren't a lot of happy cheating songs.
Good point. There's some refreshingly vengeful cheating songs, like the one about where she carves her initials in his leather seats. Anybody heard that one?
No.
Oh yeah, there's a great song. Maybe next time he'll think before he cheats. I carved my name into his leather seats. Maybe next time he'll think before he cheats. It's a country song. It's one of my favorite.
A woman singing about a guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. she takes her revenge on him, and it's actually quite delicious. Vicarious revenge.
Like Sammy Kershaw's Now That We're Through, What'll I Do With Your Tattoo?
Oh my gosh. Come to think of it, my grandfather, when my grandma passed away, he married another woman with the same name. I wonder if he had a tattoo I don't know about. Wow. Well, let's see. Let's have a palate cleanser here. I wrote another song in Memphis. Matt and I were no longer sleeping in the same house. We were roommates for a while, housemates for a while, and then later on I moved into my own place with a girlfriend and that I'd met in Memphis. But I still visited him a lot. We played tons of music. He had pizzazz, man. I wish I could track him down. I've tried for years. He was not a very technical guitarist. He was even a little bit sloppy, dirty guitarist. But man, was he fun to play with because he had tremendous juice and fire in his playing. And anyway, so I went over to his house one night and we played music until 3 a.m. or something, and then I crashed on his couch. And right before he went off to bed, he said, I thought of a title to a song. I think this would be a good song. It would be You Just Took a Bite from the Apple of My Eye. And I thought, hey, now that's a cool title. All right. So I went to sleep and I woke up with the song. And I jumped out of bed and I played this thing. I later auditioned for the Gong Show with this song. About a year later, I went to Burbank, California. Showed up and waited in the waiting room with a bunch of, trick dogs and jugglers, other songwriters. Sang this song for him, but I didn't get on the show. I wasn't either good enough or bad enough. That's my story. I have tried to get along with peaches, pears, and grapes. I've had a real fruit salad on my hands. But even maraschino cherries don't have what it takes. You stole the only woman I could stand. You just took a bite from the apple of my eye. You came along and plucked her from my tree. I hope you have a good time with the apple of my eye, but don't forget to throw the cord to me. You picked her for the way she looks and for the way she feels, but the things I care the most about are way beneath the peel. You just took a bite from the apple of my eye. You came along and plucked her from my tree. I hope you have a good time with the apple of my eye, but don't forget to throw the cord to me. There you go. Too bad Hee Haw's not around anymore. I'd send him a demo tape.
We had a college professor who urged us to watch The Gong Show at least once.
Yes?
Because he said you should see this show because it is as bad as television will ever get. Boy, was he wrong.
He was not good. Predicting is difficult, especially about the future.
Yeah.
Yes, as Yogi said. Wow. Wow, this is as bad as television ever. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. The imagination of human beings in creating awful things is boundless, absolutely limitless.
Maybe that professor still believes that's the worst thing that's happened in television.
Oh, I suppose it's possible.
Well, he's dead, so it's not. But
Oh.
I think even he would concede today that we have surpassed that.
That's true.
I think so.
There's a movie called Idiocracy that plays that out to the extent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, Idiocracy. Has anybody here not seen Idiocracy? We all seen it? You haven't seen it, Roger? Oh, in my opinion, it is a cultural icon, a must-see. Of all the series, I believe it's one of the finest successes in predicting the future that's ever
Put it
been
on your
made.
list.
Yeah, there's all kinds of science fiction that attempts to project the future, or predict the future, and always falls short. There's always things that fall short, and Idiocracy is absolutely brilliant, and it's funnier than hell. It's so funny.
And this year is the 50th anniversary of Network, which also,
Oh, yeah.
so much in that movie was unthinkable when it came out in 1976, and now it's like,
Oh yeah, I just recently watched it again, and if you watch that movie and just substitute social media for television, it's right up to date.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch that movie again. I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through, just the
Oh,
famous
yeah.
clips. Yeah. Great.
Well, you
Thanks.
can be proud, Gary, that you can claim that you were too mediocre for the Gong Show.
No.
Not good enough and not bad enough.
Not good enough and not bad enough for the Gong Show. It's another thing for my testimonials page. Great. I do want to tell one more story, and then I'll play a final song. When I did go to a lot of parties in those days. Matt's circle was a bunch of people who had lots of late night parties, and one morning after one of those parties, I woke up in the house with about half a dozen people still crashed there and sleeping over. And one of the guys, who I didn't know him, I mean, he was just a guy who was at the party, a friend of a friend of a friend, and he said, hey, to the people that were still there, why don't we all go to the Riverfront Music Festival? There's a really great music festival on the Mississippi. And down by the bluffs, there's this wonderful long park that fronts the Mississippi, and you can see Mississippi is incredibly impressive at Memphis. It's almost worth going to the town just to stand in Riverfront Park and look at the river, because it's about the narrowest part of the lower or middle Mississippi. And it's deep and it is fast. That river's going, I don't know, 20, 30 miles an hour with immense amount of water. And so anyway, they had an annual music festival down there, and it was a gorgeous summer day. And we all trooped down to, I only lived about a mile from the water. I lived in Midtown Memphis. It's about a mile from downtown Memphis. And so we all trooped down there, and then I got separated from the bunch. There were some great people there, great musicians, and I got separated from everybody. I was by myself, and I started exploring, and I could hear Albert King. It was unmistakable. Albert King, blues musician, had an unmistakable touch and tone, and I recognized him. I went, oh my God, Albert King's playing across the way there, quite a ways away. And so I started heading that way, but I stopped because on this little stage, which was just a tiny stage, maybe made out of pallets or some old pallets or something, was this old black man with a guitar, electric guitar, and he had a little amp, and he had 2 strings on his guitar. He only had, these the low 2 strings on his guitar. And he plugged into that amp, and he started playing, and that rhythm, he didn't do anything. He didn't change chords, he didn't sing, he didn't do a thing, and I can't possibly duplicate his feel, but he just went. And he started doing that with this insistent rhythm, and the rhythm itself was so delicious and captivating that the people on the grass started to dance, and after maybe 15 or 20 minutes, everybody on the lawn was leaping about and just dancing and catching eye contact with each other in awe and wonderment at what this man could do with 2 strings and 1 stroke. And I looked over to my right. One of the vivid memories I have is some guy about my age, like 23, with no shirt on, just wildly swinging his long hair around, and sweat was flying off of his hair and hitting us all. And he was just ecstatic. And then, he did this, and then he broke a string. And he couldn't go anymore. He couldn't do that with 1 string. He had to have 2. And he said, okay, that's the show. And I talked to some people in the audience later. We slowly wound down, by the way. The dancing didn't stop immediately. It took a minute for us to slow down and catch our breath and realize that he was done playing. And could still hear Albert King's, leads wafting in from the distance, and feel the cool grass of the park on my feet as I think I laid down. I think most of the audience laid down after that in the grass and just soaked it up. And I did talk to somebody afterwards, and they said, that guy, he never plays out. This is the only gig he ever plays all year. He's just a guy. He lives in some neighborhood, and sometimes he plays on his front porch, but he's not a professional. He only plays once a year. So that was incredibly formative. And I am not that guy. I don't have his background. I don't have his bones. I don't have his blood. But he inspires me still to this day, that you can carry a song with nothing but the rhythm. You can play a wrong chord. You can sing a wrong note. You can fluff the lyrics, but you can carry a whole song with 2 strings. And it's an amazing lesson to learn. So I guess I'm kind of telling you about the things I learned about music while I was in Memphis. Not all the notes are on the piano. The rhythm's the absolute most important thing. You don't have to play a song the same way that the original artist did. And in fact, it's better if you don't. Gosh, think about Richie Havens' version of Here Comes the Sun back at Woodstock. That was completely different from the Beatles, and you had to, because the Beatles were still around, and they were making, music that was going to last for centuries, and people knew it. So Richie Havens took that song and turned it completely into something else. That's what you have to do. So I was talking about that with my friend Matt, and Matt said, hey, I got an idea. I know a song that I think you'd sound good on, and I have the sheet music, and I would recommend that you learn this song from the sheet music and not listen to any of the recorded versions of it, and see how it comes out. And so I did. And it came out, it's Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. It was written in 1925. And I'm going to run through the chord progression a couple of times before I start singing because it's a complicated chord progression. Once I lived the life of a millionaire, spent all my money and I didn't care, taking my friends out for a mighty fine time, drinking high-priced liquor, champagne and wine. When I began to fall so low, I didn't have a friend, no place to go. If I ever get my hands back on $1 again, I'm gonna hold on to it till the eagle grins. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. In your pocket, not one penny, and your friends, you haven't any. But as soon as you get back on your feet again, everybody wants to be your long-lost friend. It's mighty strange, without a doubt. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. Ba-da, boom, ba-da. Ba-da, boom, boom, ba-da, 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 din-din-dia-cha. Ba-da, ba-ba-da. It's mighty strange, without a doubt. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. All right. Thank you very much.